Arsenal's biggest game of the season has arrived, as a trip to the Bernabeu looms. With Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid fully invigorated, today we'll get all the breaking news ahead of Real Madrid. We'll find out what's happening with Thomas Partey, as well as breaking down the intriguing tactical battle. We'll also find out about a meeting with Viktor Gyökeres, and find out about a new contract for Bukayo Saka. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to your boy's channel. I apologise for the lack of uploads over the weekend. Unfortunately your boy was away, but all that matters is I'm here, I'm safe, and I'm here to talk the Arsenal. So as per, smash a like on this video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But starting off with the breaking Arsenal news. Following all the drama after Real Madrid, a 3-0 victory at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal fans invigorated across the world. The following game was against Thomas Frank's Brentford. In a game that Mikel Arteta made a lot of changes, from Thomas Partey playing a right back, Tierney a left back, to Jorginho and Zinchenko in midfield, with Timber, Lewis Skelly, Saka and Odegaard all on the bench. For me, this was Mikel Arteta accepting, knowing that the title race was too far away. From last week's game against Everton, to now this game against Brentford, to have seen Mikel Arteta make so many changes, the priority has become the Champions League. But in a game that Arsenal took the lead, as Declan Rice, a smooth transition goal in the second half, from David Raya starting it off, to the speed and power of Declan Rice, as he provided a fantastic assist for Thomas Partey to score, meaning that Rice has now been directly involved in 8 goals in his last 10 games of club and country, with 4 goals and 4 assists. It actually was a very intriguing goal. The reason behind being the fact that it was a transition, an area that Arsenal struggled in all season, but in the past 2 games against Everton and Brentford, both goals have seen similarities. Turnovers at Arsenal have played at a faster pace, decisive in the final third with quick decision making. Ultimately, it was not enough to win the game, as Johan Wisser scored a scrappy goal. Arsenal drawing their 12th game of the season in what has been our Achilles heel in this title race. But it was a game where Jakub Kiwior started once again, as he dropped a 7.0 rating, with 1 clearance, 1 interception and 2 tackles, 2 out of 2 ground balls and 2 out of 2 in the air, 94% of passes completed. Arsenal are now 19 games unbeaten in games that Kiwior started, with 13 wins, 6 draws, 0 losses and 9 clean sheets. It's been a major few weeks for the player, stepping up the absence of Gabriel Magalhaes, a player that many saw as our player of the season. As Kiwior said after the Real Madrid game, "I didn't feel nervous. This was one of the biggest games in my career, but I was ready." And part of why I think he has been so ready is the player sitting next to him, the excellent William Saliba. In a game that he had the most chances created from centre-back, as he dropped a 7.3 rating, with 3 clearances, 3 ground balls, 1 and 2 in the air, 94% of passes completed and 3 key passes. We have started to see a major evolution. Following the injury to Gabriel Magalhaes, Saliba is now taking more emphasis in possession. Think about the games against Real Madrid and now against Brentford. Not scared to carry the ball forwards, play more centrally, but also be more of the aggressor, where in the past he's been more of the conservative centre-back next to Gabriel. Following the big injury, Saliba has altered his game, playing far more on the front foot and commanding the Arsenal backline, giving Kiwior the more conservative role. We are seeing a player evolve to a new level of consistency, ranking 3rd in the Premier League for the highest percentage of aerial duels won, with a whopping 75%. An area that was once seen as a weakness has now become a strength. As pointed out by Simon Collins, since playing next to Kiwior, Saliba has become more dominant in possession. In the last 3 games of Kiwior, he's carried the ball over 800 yards. Compare that to the final 3 matches with Gabriel, and the number was only 550. But in a game where Mikel Arteta was left unhappy, as Gabriel Martinelli spoke after the game, talking about a poor challenge from Christian Norgard, one that he believes could have broke his leg. According to Sky pundit Jamie Redknapp, Mikel Arteta should be more frustrated that his team didn't win the game than that. A lot of time it always feels like it's a conspiracy between him and his team, but it isn't. And I'm not here to talk about the referees anymore because we know they're not good enough. In some way, Redknapp is not lying. For as much as Arsenal can look to external factors, the reality is we have to look internally. Having now drawn 12 matches in the Premier League this season, only 2nd behind Everton for the most in the Premier League, we've actually only lost 1 more game than Liverpool all season, but the draws have been the killer, with 4 draws in our last 7 Premier League games. We're not talking about Man City or Liverpool. We're talking games like Forest away, United away, Everton and Brentford, teams that for the most part are in the bottom half of the Premier League. It's actually quite ironic, because if you look at Arsenal's last 7 fixtures, if we'd won all 7 of those games, we'd actually be on 72 points after 32 matches, only 2 points of Liverpool's current 76, as they were once again victorious over the weekend, as Virgil van Dijk scored from a late corner to beat West Ham 2-1. This is where the transfer market comes into play, with all the reports confirming that Arsenal are going to invest heavily in their forward line. Can a centre forward turn those draws into win? Because according to Gary Neville, Arsenal have gone backwards, especially from the start of the season, and there's always a side that you can pick and choose, a narrative that can suit your agenda. But to have a more balanced point of view, there's always going to be multiple factors. We cannot ignore the fact that Gabriel is currently out injured, Saka's missed over 3 months, Jesus and Havertz are both out for the season, and act like that wasn't going to play a part. So with the league table currently having Arsenal in 2nd on 63 points, 13 points behind first place Liverpool. It's now about looking to the future, which brings us to the future of a certain Arsenal loanee, as Fabio Vieira dropped a man of the match performance, as Porto beat Casapia 1-0 in a game that he dropped a 7.6 rating, playing in central midfield with 74 touches, 50 accurate passes, 1 key pass, 6 out of 6 long balls. Vieira's recent form has been fantastic, consistent 7+ ratings, with goals and assists as well. From playing on the right hand side to also playing centrally, we are finally starting to see a level of consistency. A player that was brought by Mikel Arteta to be a game changer, with an eye for a passing behind and the ability to execute. Fabio Vieira has a toolset that Arsenal definitely do need, a profile that can become a final action player who's still only 24 years of age. For an Arsenal can be an asset, whether on the field for the team, but also on the transfer market. What do you guys think needs to happen with the future Fabio Vieira? Can he play a part next season? Because in terms of the midfield, Arsenal of course have their targets, with Martin Zubimendi set to arrive. We were also targeting a certain Norwegian, Sverre Nypan of FC Rosenborg. But now according to David Ornstein, Aston Villa are working to close the deal for Sverre Nypan, a player heavily pursued with the likes of Arsenal and Girona. But Villa are confident the midfielder is keen to join. They still have to agree a fee and personal terms, but they are attempting to finalise, with even Fabrizio Romano confirming Villa are advancing talk to sign the player, with negotiations underway on both club and player side. They have presented their project in the last few weeks. Talks are ongoing to win the race over Man City, Girona and Arsenal, which then poses an important question to Arsenal. With the potential departures of Jorginho and Thomas Partey, we can't just sign one midfield, another name is going to be needed. So do they pursue Nypan, try to push ahead of Aston Villa, or find another option on the market, whether experienced or young? For me, Arsenal need at least 2 midfielders this summer. But in terms of the forward line, what about Nico Williams? A player wanted by Arsenal, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, but in terms of the team in Spain, according to reports they now have no intention to sign Nico Williams this summer. The train has now passed. A player that was once again on the score sheet over the weekend, as Bilbao beat Vallecano 3-1. Williams came off the bench and scored a fantastic goal, on the right hand side on his weaker foot, showing high levels of ball striking. With only 10 goals and 7 assists this season, by no means is Williams a guaranteed goal getter, but we also cannot ignore the signs. For a player in the top 11% in all of Europe for shot creating actions, in the top 5% for progressive carries, top 2% for successful take-ons, we are seeing a player with all the fundamentals. A high-level ball carrier with the ability to cause chaos. When it comes to signing new players, numbers of course play a part, but when you're only 22 years of age, you have to also talk about the profile. A player comfortable on shooting on both feet, with a clean ability to strike the ball. By no means is Williams the perfect player, but with this being the potential future Arsenal wing pairing, the idea of Saka on one side and Williams on the other, alongside the ability of Gabriel Martinelli, and what Arsenal would have there is a level of fear, an ability to hurt teams on both sides, with a level of directness that teams will find very hard to stop. And in terms of the Arsenal starboy Bukayo Saka, with reports already confirming that Andrea Berta has arrived, and one of the main priorities is to get Saka to get a new contract. According to Graham Bailey, Arsenal are willing to offer Bukayo Saka a contract extension worth £300,000 a week, making him the club's highest paid player. Andrea Berta is leading talks, and ideally would like Saka's new deal to be in place before the summer break. Berta is definitely making moves, and it's things that I love to see. A man being proactive behind the scenes, trying to make a name for himself at a brand new club, and ultimately stamp down his authority. In terms of the striker and our main target being Viktor Gyökeres, according to Fabrizio Romano, Gyökeres' agents were in England in April for meetings and talks. Andrea Berta is a long admirer of him, and he remains firmly on Arsenal's radar. The question then is, has Gyökeres had a meeting with Arsenal? Is Berta the man pushing for this deal? And also, what does Mikel Arteta think? For a man that's always prioritised the likes of Benjamin Sesko, but having also made a move for Ollie Watkins in the winter. For as much as Mikel Arteta understands the process, he's also a man that wants to win now. And Gyökeres you ever play in the peak of his powers, with an insane goal-scoring record. And for what I can see, Arsenal are definitely prioritising the experience. But moving on to Arsenal's trip to the Bernabeu, in Arsenal's biggest game of the season by a country mile, having smashed in 3 goals at the Emirates Stadium, we have definitely become the firm favourites. So with Arsenal confirmed to be wearing their away kit and playing in black, there's no denying there's been a lot of talk going into this game, coming all the way out of Real Madrid. From Bellingham, Vinicius and Rodrigo, all saying see you on Wednesday, to journalists in Spain saying only days and hours remaining, the remontada is close. Followed by more reports coming out of Spain, saying it's been a tense week in the Real Madrid dressing room, ahead of the clash versus Arsenal. Jude Bellingham and Antonio Rudiger had to be separated during training, as a bad tackle led to confrontation and insults from both players, followed by this photo that came out behind the scenes of Bellingham and Rudiger both fighting. It is a game that we will see a former Arsenal player, as reports confirm, former midfielder Dani Ceballos is set to play against Arsenal, who says himself the first 15 and 20 minutes will be important on Wednesday. We need to believe our fans too. We need to believe together, and let's see. Let's just say there is a lot of hype coming from the Bernabeu. The media being briefed that Real Madrid are anticipating a remontada, with more reports claiming Carlo Ancelotti had a 10-minute talk with the players and asked for commitment and extra effort versus Arsenal. Ancelotti was assertive and ended up raising his tone. I've never quite seen anything like it. A team 3-0 down with all the PR on their side. For Arsenal, what they have to do is very simple. We can rely upon our defence because we know it's amazing, but I want to see aggression, having played them off the park at the Emirates Stadium. For as great as the Bernabeu may be, we know the Real Madrid are vulnerable defensively, so instead of resting on our lead, I want to see Arsenal go for it, score a goal as soon as possible, and kill the tie straight away. And in terms of the players that will be available, as according to John Cross, Jorginho is definitely out of the quarter-final second leg, and is likely to be ruled out for the next few weeks with a chest injury, with Arsenal hoping it's not season-ending. You then have the fitness of Benjamin White, a player that wasn't available for Brentford, and according to Mikel Arteta, we don't know. He wasn't in the condition to make the squad. We have a few days, so let's wait and see. And that's where we've got positive news. As reports confirm that Ben White wasn't training this morning, you've also got to talk about Thomas Partey. After he scored his 4th Premier League goal of the season, his most ever in an Arsenal campaign, he was taken off in the game against Brentford via injury. A lot of concerns after the game, but then came in the reliable hand of Arsenal, confirming that Thomas Partey will be a part of the travelling squad to face Real Madrid, followed by more confirmation from Fabrizio Romano, saying that Thomas Partey is travelling to Madrid and he will be a part of the Arsenal squad. Then Mikel Arteta confirmed himself. Thomas Partey and Ben White will both be available. Jorginho unfortunately is not here because he is not recovered. And now it all falls down to the Arsenal manager, a man that we know can play a nasty deep block. We saw at the Etihad with 10 men, City with every single player in the Arsenal box, yet still finding it near impossible to score, with Arsenal having gone over 700 days since last losing a game by 3 or more goals. We are talking about a side that has not conceded more than 2 goals in a game for 78 straight games. The last time being our 4-3 win against Luton, all the way back in 2023. This is going to be an intriguing tactical battle. In the first game, Lewis Skelly was given so much space. Arsenal were in full control of the build-up phase, dictating the pace of the game with 3 moments of individual quality. Going to the Bernabeu now, if Madrid are to come back, they will have to do something they've never done before. I'm not talking about coming back from 3 goals behind. I am saying even score against Arsenal. Having not done it in 2006, they're not at the Emirates Stadium. There's no denying the pressure is definitely going to be on, but it's also an opportunity to show maturity. This is not a game that Arsenal have to blow Madrid out of the water. It's all about being professional. Because if you're able to do the job, you're into the Champions League semi-finals, then potentially 3 wins away from Arsenal's first ever Champions League win. So after a dramatic game at Villa Park, where PSG scored 2 early goals to make it 5-1 aggregate, Villa scored 3 after that and only slightly missed out on a monumental comeback. Luis Enrique's PSG have qualified for the semi-finals, meaning if Arsenal can get through, we will face a familiar opponent. My friends, talk to me in the comments down below. Do you believe Arsenal have what it takes to go to the Bernabeu and get the job done? Revise the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today as we now go to the Bernabeu in our biggest game of the season. My friends, this is what you call gargantuan, and it's a chance for Arsenal to make history and make it to the semi-finals. So my friends, let's see what happens. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and in a bit.